Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to another YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our AFL 2022 3-game match reviews. Now here we are for another 3 games, 3 massive games these were, as they always are. We learnt more about teams competing for the finals, but these games were still mostly between the lower teams battling it out. Although 2 of them were with lower teams battling it out with the top teams. But we still did get some very interesting results and learn a lot more about teams. So the games we're going to be reviewing are Brisbane vs Essendon, Hawthorn vs Adelaide, and Carlton vs West Coast. So let's go ahead and hop right into things with Brisbane vs Essendon at the Gabba, Sunday arvo. So the first game on the Sunday is where the Lions 13-12-90 couldn't beat the Bombers 15-10-100, but the Brisbane Lions did have around 8 outs or something like that, 8 outs or something like that, so they were down with a lot of players and a lot of their good team were out of this contest. But still though, don't want to take anything away from the Bombers. What a ripping win up at the Gabba, where a lot of teams haven't been able to win. This is something special for them, and they will remember this, and their season can actually get alright. If they get moving here, they're on 20 points all of a sudden, I think. If they can get moving, they can go up into 13th, and they're currently like in, 15th or 16th. They can go up into 13th position and actually make the year that they've had go from bad to, well, semi-okay. They can be the team in 13th place if they play well for the rest of the year. Now, the Bombers, they just dominated this game, and they were always in front. Brisbane had no good moments pretty much whatsoever, so it was pretty crazy. Brisbane had no good moments. It was all the Bombers, most of the game, but they never got out to anything drought-breaking or to anything really game-breaking. And it was relatively even, goal for goal a fair bit, actually, even at quarter-time. The Bombers got the skip at half-time, though. They were up by a couple goals, and then in the third quarter, again, pretty much this goal for goal was relatively even. The Lions, though, did bring the margin back to just, again, a couple of kicks. And then the final quarter, the Bombers get out to a 19-point lead, and you know there's potentially game. And then the Lions come back within a couple of kicks, and again, they come back within a couple of kicks, come back within 1 kick late in the quarter, and then the Bombers just hold on somehow to win by 10. And for this club that's had a horrible year, this is a really big win. But yes, Brisbane were depleted and decimated with, I think it's health and safety protocols. 5 goals for Peter Wright, though. Again, game changer. 31 disposals for Zach Merritt. 8 tackles and 127 fantasy. But what a game of footy for the Bombers. They needed a win like this, and wow. Delivered on the big stage. Merritt, 127 fantasy, as I said. 112 for Caldwell, 108 for Langford, 107 for Starcevich, 106 for Ridley, 101 for Hines, 98 for McCluggage, and Shield. Now 5 goals for Peter Wright, 4 for Langford. That's the turning point. That's the difference point. 9 goals combined for them too, and that is where the game was won perhaps. 3 goals for McCarthy, 2 for McInerney, Robinson. So then them guys made a combined 7. So you can see they're 9-7, but really good big bags by Wright and Langford, and we haven't seen Langford for a little while. Everybody else with the 1 goal. Merritt, 31 disposals, 29 for McCluggage, 27 for Hine, 26 for Starcevich and Caldwell, as well as Ridley. 25 for Shield. Now Lockie Neal down to 21, along with Laverde and Zerk Thatcher, 29 for Guelphy. Lockie Neal down to 21. That would have to be one of his season lows, you reckon? I reckon that's a season low, perhaps. 10 marks for Ridley, 8 for Laverde and Wright. Now to tackles, 8 for Cockatoo and Merritt, 7 for Lions and Caldwell. Hitouts now 21 for McInerney, 17 for Draper, 15 for Phillips, 13 for Forts, 1 for Rayner. So now the Bombers had more ball than the Lions. They went inside 57 more times than the Lions, had a higher disposal efficiency than the Lions. Free kicks were locked at 19 apiece, had more clearances than the Lions. They won more clearances, centre clearances as well, but stoppage clearances were locked at 22. They had a lot more uncontested possessions, 164 to 237, getting way more of the ball on their own. Maybe it was too easy for them. They were just getting forward, and then took way more marks inside 50, contested and intercepts. Way more, led for most of the game in what is a big upset of this round's massive upset. And this is a really big win, big upset. And the Bombers get the job done by 10. Now to Marvel Stadium we go, where the Hawks had the Crows done from the first bounce. Hawthorn 13-8-86 smashed the Crows 8-6-54. And the Adelaide Crows, they just can't get their groove going this year. And they have made themselves, well, officially one of the worst teams of the year. And maybe even put themselves in the bottom 4 after this performance. Now, yes, they are a bit of a worse team away from home. And the Hawks have beaten some quality opponents, and they needed this win to get back onto the winners list and actually have a little bit of confidence to try and finish outside the bottom 4 in season 2022. And they did exactly that. At half-time, they were well ahead of the Crows, and they built it off the back of a very good first quarter. And you knew at half-time the Crows weren't coming back. They were very dominant in the third quarter and kept Hawthorn goalless, but just didn't do enough scoreboard pressure. And then the Hawks just deal a few final blows in the last. And the Crows kick back a few late. But again, it's not really. Just stops a few percentage points there. But yeah, the Hawks, they were just so good. Lewis with the 5 goals. But then led with 42 disposals and 132 fantasy. Jordan Dawson with the 10 tackles. But again, though, for the Hawks, really big win in this one. 132 fantasy for Laird. 129 for Moore. 124 for Hardwick. 118 for Keys, 108 for Sicily, 101 for Morrison, 99 for Crouch, 98 for Smith. Now to goals behinds we go. 5 for Lewis. Again, he was the highest goal scorer on the ground by far against anyone else. 2 for Bruce, Fogarty and Thilthorpe. And Impey actually getting forward, having the 1 goal 3. 42 disposals for Rory Laird, 32 for Hardwick, 30 for Keys, 29 for Moore. That's a really big impacting game. He may not have gotten goals, but he did get the fantasy points and the disposals. 28 for Mitchell and Crouch. You know them two, Crouch and Mitchell. They get the ball heaps every single week. 13 disposals for Sicily, 8 for Hardwick and Jath, as well as Smith and Duday. Tackles now, 10 for Dawson, 7 for Moore. McGuinness actually tagged Jordan Dawson, which did keep him a little bit more quiet. As well, Laird and Berry with the 7, and then Crouch with the 6. Hitouts now, 32 for O'Brien, 26 for Reeves, 20 for McAvoy. Good to have him back for the Hawks. And the Crows wouldn't have liked that. 6 for Thilthorpe, 3 for Taylor Walker. Team stats now we go, where the Hawks went inside 50 10 more times than the Crows, resulting into more scoring shots. Had more free kicks. They did win the hitouts, but actually, surprisingly enough, it was the Crows that won the clearances. And then, is there anything else interesting? Hawks took a little bit more marks. Crows took more marks inside 50. The Crows barely led, and it was Hawthorn's game that they definitely deserved to win. They were up by a long way, by a long way at most stages in this game. It's a really big, comfortable, confident win for the Hawks, and this will just give them a little bit of confidence heading into the back end of the year, especially at this very venue. And now to the Eagles and the Blues, where I'm actually quick enough on this to still have the listen live button there, which I can still listen to it live if I wanted to now. That's how quick I do get onto these really quickly, so then they can go out ASAP. I know you'll be watching this the next day, but still trying to record it ASAP so then it works out better. And the Eagles 8-5-53 get smashed by the Blues 17-14, 116. The Blues win by 63. And yeah, the Eagles had a couple of good moments in this game, but just couldn't capitalise from there on. And they got really close to Carlton. They couldn't score in the first quarter, and that's where Carlton got the real jump step on them, kicking the 5 goals. And then the second quarter, the Blues kicked 3. The Eagles kicked 7 goals, 3 in the second quarter. And all of a sudden, it looks like they're going to win it. And it's like, yep, they'll win it. They will win this game, probably West Coast. And no, the Blues kept on fighting. And they kicked a goal late at the end of the third term. And then in the last quarter, the Eagles are goalless. And they kicked a goal. The last time they kicked a goal in this game was pretty much at the start of the third quarter. And then in the last quarter, the Blues kicked 7 goals to Eagles 0. Not even a behind in that last quarter for the Eagles. So it was a really disappointing performance for West Coast after, well, people had them winning this game, and it looked like they were. It looked like they could have won this game, but no. And again, the experience and the calmness of the Blues was really helpful. 30 disposals for Gaff, 5 goals for Curnow, 7 tackles for Kennedy, 119 fantasy for Shannon Hearn. Fantasy, 119 for Hearn, as I said. 116 for Kennedy, 114 for Doherty, 109 for Gaff, 108 for Chera, 106 for Mackay, 98 for Curnow, 94 for Duggan, 93 for Walsh and Silvani, 90 for Hewitt. Now 2 goals behind we go. We're 5 goals for Curnow and Mackay, combined 10. That's pretty good stuff there. And again, that's where the game was lost for West Coast. 2 goals for Kennedy, Fisher, Durden and Waterman. Everybody else with the 1. 30 disposals for Gaff, 28 for Hearn, Doherty and Chera, 27 for Hewitt, 26 for 27 for Kennedy, 26 for Hewitt, 25 for Walsh, 24 for Cripps. Marks now, 10 for Hearn, 8 for Edwards and Duggan, as well as Gaff, Curnow, Doherty and Newman. Tackles now, 7 for Kennedy, 6 for Shuey, Redden, Silvani, 5 for Rioli and Durden. Now to the hitouts we go, 26 for Natanui. Again, really nice to have Natanui back in the league. 17 for Williams and De Koning, 8 for Silvani. Now to the team stats we go, where again, the Blues had a heap more of the ball and kicks and handballs. And then the inside 50 count, which would have changed drastically after half-time, 34-70. The Blues did stamp their dominance in this game, and even at times when it looked like West Coast were going to come back, the Blues remains calm and got the job done from there. Free kicks, 22-20 in favour of West Coast. They smashed the Blues in the hitouts, but the Blues smashed them in clearances. No matter what aspect it was, they were still up by a fair way. Getting a lot of the ball out of the centre. Traditional Carlton do like to do that. And then marks, again, Carlton marks inside 50, contested marks as well. Carlton led for the whole game. West Coast did look like putting up a surge to come back, and they almost did. The Blues laying again way more pressure. They almost did, though, the Eagles. They almost went in front and turned around a ripping lead the Blues had. But again, the Blues, their experience was just way too strong, and now they're trying to look in for a top 4 spot as well. So now the round we had, well, the Cats got over the Demons by 28. The Swans smashed the Doggies by 53. The Pies got over the Roos by 7. The Suns got over the Tigers by 2. The Saints lost to the Dockers by 41. Port Adelaide smashed the Giants by 55. The Bombers got over the Lions by 10. The Hawks smashed the Crows by 32. And the Blues smashed the Eagles by 63. Now to the ladder. Obviously, there'll be changes. So now it is a 3-way tie at the top. 48 for the Cats, who are on top of the table. 48 for the Demons, who are second. And 48 for the Dockers, who are third. It's going to be an interesting race. And now Brisbane, they have lost their look for a home final, a home qualifying final. And now they are equal with 6th place Collingwood. Carlton sit 5th. They sit 4th. Collingwood sit 6th. All on 44 points. So a slip up. And there is the price to pay. Brisbane will play Carlton later in the year, so that could be a very big game in the way the top 4 goes. Collingwood or Carlton can still make the top 4 and push Brisbane out. And don't worry, the Cats, the Demons, and the Dockers aren't locked in yet. Yes, they may be a game ahead, but they're not 100% locked in. But I do still feel like the top 4 that it is now will still be the top 4. The Swans sit in 7th place on 40 points. A game behind the Pies, but a game clear of the Tigers. The Saints threw away golden opportunity to jump up into the 8 because they lost to the Dockers. The Tigers sit in 8th place on 36 points. They haven't established themselves ahead either. And, well, the Dogs, the Suns, and the Power all just sit one game outside the top 8 as well. So if the Tigers manage to slip up next week, they are in some real trouble. The Giants sit in 13th. The Hawks climb out of the bottom 4. The Crows enter the bottom 4. But Essendon are right behind them, and the Crows can still slip down to 16th, which there's a great possibility of that happening. And then again, if the Bombers win next week and the Hawks don't, well, the Bombers, if they win next week, they can go up to 13th if the Giants and Hawks don't win. So now, well, I've been going over round 18. Let's see what we got. The Doggies and the Saints really highlights a big round of footy coming up. This is going to be a massive game. The loser, you could say, will probably not make finals. The winner, well, that's big. And if the Saints do happen to lose, well, then they've just allowed another team to swarm in to another team that wants the top 8. The Crows take on the Pies at the Adelaide Oval. And then also same time on the Saturday, the Giants take on the Lions. Then the Roos take on the Tigers. Now, this is a massive game of footy here, because if the Roos do get the job done, well, then Richmond all of a sudden have the potentiality of losing their spot in the top 8, which would be big, a massive thing there. And then the Blues take on the Cats on Saturday night. Could be the biggest game of the round. Could easily be the biggest game of the round. The Blues, we know they've been very good at times this year, and the Cats, well, they've had a really good season. The Dockers take on the Swans also Saturday night at Optus. Really big game that shapes to be, especially for Sydney, because again, there could be a whole host of clubs coming to chase their spot too. The Hawks play the Eagles on Sunday, the first game on Sunday. Now, this could be West Coast's chance to claim another win, although their performance against Carlton wasn't great, so probably not. The Demons take on Port Adelaide. In what is a must-win game for the Power, they cannot afford to slip up, because if the Suns beat the Bombers at Marvel, well, then there's all sorts of problems, especially if the Doggies beat the Saints. But yeah, if the Saints win on Friday night, that can really set up where Port Adelaide, Gold Coast and the Western Bulldogs season sit at the end of this year. But yeah, as I said, Bombers take on Suns. That is a massive last game as well. But yeah, I feel like the real deal of this round is highlighted by the Doggies and the Saints, and the Blues and the Cats. You want 2 games to watch out for? There are your 2. You want a third? Essendon, Gold Coast as well. So my top 3 games are Bulldogs, Saints, Essendon, Gold Coast, and Carlton, Geelong. If you want to watch the footy in round 18, should be an absolute ripping round of footy. So that's going to do us for this 3-game match reviews. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you guys will never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. So bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.